Well, hey guys, welcome to day 33. I'm Handy Matt, welcome to my channel. And today is the final day for the pole saw. We're gonna get it put together and we're gonna go test it out. So I got the air conditioner running back here, the fan on low. If it's annoying and you can kind of hear it and it's not really working so well, somebody jump in the comments and let me know, and I can try to figure out something that will work. But I kind of need the air conditioner. It's pretty hot outside and the garage is not very well insulated. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing put together and give her a test run today. Let's take a look what we're working with. Alright, got some hardware. Went out and I got some stainless steel hardware. I got some hardware that's not stainless steel, but I got good replacements for everything, including all wing nuts that was original to it. I was trying to get all stainless steel, but Ace Hardware didn't have everything, but it's gonna work. So, see if I can remember how to put this together exactly. Goes that way. This is the spring. I'm going to oil it up later so it doesn't rust. I was going to paint it, but well, we all know what happens with paint on springs. It eventually cracks. So let's see, it goes. Just like that. Then I've got the blade. A little bit of tape with paint on the back here. That goes that. And I've got a new washer, a new lock washer. And I could not find the right nut. This is a M7 1, I think it is. Very uncommon size for metric, but that's all they had was just the washers. I couldn't find a nut, so I got the spring on there backwards. Spring is always supposed to return it to being open. And this needs to get flipped this direction. Okay, that's more like it. Go down until I just crush that lock washer. Okay, where am I? Something's not. What am I hitting? Washer go between there? I believe so, because this is a thicker than normal washer. I'm trying to do this without going back and watching my disassembly video. I probably should go back and take a peek. There's no fun in that. Is that? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that clears now. All right, there we go. We got. Seems like it should. Do I have to put some preload on this? I think it should be fully open. It should be up here. Like that. Okay, all right. Learning as we go here. So let's set it to where let's turn reload. Uh-oh, forgot that washer. I'm on that. I think we're cooking with bacon grease now. I might eat my words, but I feel like we're cooking with bacon grease. All right. I almost feel like this should be like a castle nut or a nylock or something. But it's working. What I'll probably end up doing is once I'm done and I test it and it actually works, probably come back and put some Loctite on that nut. Okay, so I got some new little bolts here for the blade, and these particular ones, I hope they're not metric, but they're a hex head, not a hex head, they are these are Allen wrench. That's loose, so that must be metric. Yep, 3mm. Okay. So, blade's adjustable for angle. You can, there's several positions you can put it. You got your straightaway. You got this position where it's angled a little bit, and this is the position I think I'm going to put it in. hole is. I guess we're gonna go just straight away. I don't want to mess with it. This is the way it came from the factory. It had wing nuts on here. So I guess maybe I am kind of sort of restoring something for once. So these are for the pool. These ones go here. No washers on these, if I remember right. So that's all put together. What we need to do next, let's get adjusted. What we do next is we need to put a new rope on here that ties off here, goes to this little sheave, and then it goes back down to wherever you are, and you can pull on it, and you can use this pruning shear to lop off little limbs that you can't, that are easier to get that way than using the saw. So it had that poly line on there. I'm replacing it with some nylon. It'll last a little bit longer in the sun if I left it out in the sun, which I'm not going to do, but this stuff is easier to splice anyway. So I'm not going to tie any knots. I'm going to splice it on there. So did some rough math and I decided I'm going to go with 10-foot section. So let's see if we can get 10 feet out of here without completely tangling everything. I got one end on the inside there. Where's the other bitter end? There we go. Three right there. That's 6. That's 9. And that's 10 right here. Go ahead and snip that off. I'm just going to put an eye splice on it right through here. tape on the ends here to make it easier. I've done hundreds of these little 3-strand ice places. I can do them behind my back, and I haven't done one in probably 6 years. It's gonna be kind of hard to do it behind my back though with this thing. So we're not going to show off today. A little bit more extra here. I'm right-handed, so I gotta move some things around. So how far does this go down? So I got room for about a really tiny eye. Really tiny. Middle one. Room for a very big eye here, or a very big splice. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing here. I haven't learned everything I need to know about my new camera that's able to zoom in mechanically. Never using that other camera again. It was trash. Wasted $100 on it. It's never about it. Got room for one more tug, which is, I'd rather do 6, but you gotta have at least 3 on like natural fiber line. Synthetic lines like this, I always say go 6. However, this is not something that's it's not like a safety lifeline for somebody, so I'll compensate for only doing 3. I was kind of anticipating this, so I brought out some heat shrink, and that's how I'm gonna yeah, I'm forgetting things. So I'm gonna basically lash this down. Where I put my torch. Slipping off the other end. I wasn't thinking ahead. Put both of them on there so we don't forget it. Alright, to make it all look nice and neat, I'll thread them all through real carefully before I snip them off. And get this heat shrink on the other side of the splice. One more. There you are. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to snip them off, leave a little bit of a tail, half an inch, thereabouts. Slide it back down. Right there. Grab the torch. Where's my torch? There it is. Go ahead and shrink it down. I just gotta remember that this is nylon line, so I don't wanna melt the line. So just gently. I guess a heat gun would have been a little bit safer since this is nylon line. Oops, singed it. This middle area shrunk in really good. I'm using marine heat shrink. It's got that hot melt glue in there, so that'll help out too. Okay, now before we go too further, we'll get it reeved through the little pulley here. Heat shrink for the other splice on here. The other end here I'm putting a end splice. And I'm going to get this thing out of the way because it keeps rocking around everywhere making noise. So end splice, here we go. Now I could, I guess, just melt the end and throw some heat shrink on there. Yeah, we're gonna do a splice. Good amount of tape on this one. Didn't do very well on the other one. Must be rusty. Tape just makes it easier to thread it through the line and do the tucks. Alright, so starting an end splice in 3-strand it's not terribly hard, but it can be a little confusing. So what I do is I have one on either side here. I make one loop on the middle one that sticks up, and I pinch it on the bottom. Okay, now what direction do I go? I go this way, counterclockwise. Go around that loop here, grab this other one and go over the one you just did and through that big tall loop, and just start pulling them down. This small line, it's going to be hard to get it down to where you feel a little bit of resistance. But you want to pull it down to where there's this little crown shape here, this little three-sided crown. And you want to pull it down to where you start getting a little bit of resistance. That way you don't have that way the end of your end splice doesn't get all floppy on you. Alright, and then you just do what you do on like a regular splice. You go over one, under one. And the first one is tricky here because they're all coming back on themselves. So just start it, carefully go to the next one, and keep an eye on what you're going over and what you're going under. And then on the last one, double check what you're doing so you don't. We want to go over, let's see, we're already down a little so I can see what I'm doing. Over and then under. It looks like it's buried back there, and it is sort of. Once you get that first full tuck on there after making your crown, it should be a tail, then a part of a strand of the line, tail, strand, all the way around. If it's not like that, pull it out and start over. Let's see. Alright, so I got the crown, and I got 2 full rounds of tucks. I'm going to go 2 more rounds of tucks for a total of 4. And that'll be it. What this does is make sure that the end of your line does not unravel. It lasts a long time, and your line doesn't slowly get shorter as it ages. You know, interestingly enough, one of these splices was my very first video on YouTube back in, I think, 2009. I had about 10 videos up there splicing and knot tying. Early days of YouTube. Went on deployment, came back like 9 months later. I had like 1 subscriber, like 10 views. And I'm like, what a waste of time. So I deleted all those videos. Yeah, I should not have done that. Should have just let them sit there and marinate. Okay. This is where I screwed up. On this one, I could have put the heat shrink on last, and I'm gonna do that. I can get it off. I just don't want to fight it. I got plenty of it. I'm just gonna cut it off and get another piece out. Remember where I put it. I think I was wrong. So I guess I'm gonna have to slowly work it in there. I don't have a sail needle big enough to. I guess I could shove it with this Allen wrench. Yep, shouldn't have done that. We'll get it. So I get it out far enough where I can grab it. Okay. Alright, we're back in the game. This heat shrink is gonna make it even more robust and last longer. There we go. Got our little splice here. Too small for me to roll it and make it look really pretty. There she is. Perfect. Oh, there's a little bit more on that end. There we go. That'll last a long time. All right, let's get some of this trash out of the way. Time to put the pole on it. And my temporary permanent solution. So remember, I tried to soak some polyurethane in here into this really old dry wood to make it expand. Well, it didn't work. And I thought about how I'm going to fix that. I'm going to make that work, and I ended up deciding I'm just going to do what everybody else would have done. I'm just going to wrap some electrical tape on it. Does anybody have a can of electrical tape like this that came in a can? I do. Isn't that cool? They're all plastic now. So, I don't need a whole lot, so I'm gonna just stretch barely even one layer around it for right now. Alright, let's get around the bolt holes there. Snugs it up a bit. I don't need to be crazy. Just don't want to be super floppy. Put some more around this end. Yep, too much. But dead blow hammer for the rest. So if I line my bolt holes up correctly, too far. Not perfect, but that'll work. This is all made for a quick takedown. Wing nuts everywhere. This is the only place where washers went with wing nuts. Can't complain about that too much. works out pretty good. Yeah, this Rick's pretty knocking things over. He's in the way. Let's put this end on here, and we'll head out to the backyard and see how well it works. And y'all see, everything's in the way. I can't, let me get in. There we go. Sweet. All right. Meet you guys in the backyard. All right, I got a dead branch right here that we're gonna go ahead and trim off with a saw. I didn't bother sharpening it because it already feels pretty sharp, but we're gonna try it out on this dead branch, and then we're gonna go find some limbs down here that need to get trimmed, and we'll try the pruner out. Let's see how well this works. Not too bad. It could use a little bit of a sharpening, but not bad at all. Let's go down here and try out the pruner. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, that's a little bit too big for it. I just need to get it down the throat of it a little bit better, maybe. Yeah, that's too big. Almost got it though. Yeah, it works all right. Not as good as something that's got some gasoline power in it, but not bad. Anyway, that does it for this video. And that's, what is this one? Day 33. So I'll see you tomorrow on day 34. Laters.